Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Uncommon People Podcast YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us today for a video that I think is very important, and we know that because of the response we got to a podcast episode on this similar topic. We recently released an episode about protecting your children online, and it was a popular one, and we got a lot of questions and comments about what our recommendations are for our accountability software or filtering software, things of that nature. And so I wanted to just make a video to go over some of the options that are out there, the costs that are associated with them, and some of the features that you may come across. So why do you need filtering software? Well, we talk about it in that podcast episode, which I'll link in the description, but just in a 30,000 foot view, we need to protect our children online. We need to be able to monitor the content that they are consuming, because there's a lot of things out there that we don't want them getting prematurely exposed to, but also there's a lot of risk for things like baiting children or predators that are online. So a lot of this software that we're going to go over protects from those specific things. Some of them are individual standalone apps. Some of them are plugins that you can put on your devices. Some of them are Wi-Fi filters that you can monitor through your actual Wi-Fi system. But nonetheless, they're all great resources, and we are in no way affiliated with any of these. We don't receive any kind of commissions for recommendations. These are all exclusively just being put out there for your information so that you can make an informed decision. If you like this kind of family-oriented content and you want to see some of our vlogs and recommendation videos that we put out, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. We post new content weekly. Also, subscribe to the Uncommon People podcast wherever you get podcasts. We do a weekly show that releases typically on Wednesdays, and so we would love to have you there as well. So to start off, we'll look at NetNanny. NetNanny is a software that plugs into your devices and basically offers like a VPN functionality. There's several different plans. You can get annual packages so that you save money. And you can have everything from one desktop covered to 5 devices to 20 devices, which is a family protection pass. The family protection pass runs about $90 a year, and it covers PC, Mac, and mobile. There's Windows, there's Mac OS, there's Android, even iOS and Amazon Fire. And so it covers pretty much all the devices that you would need. The way that I understand NetNanny, which full disclosure, I do not use NetNanny specifically myself, but it's a very popular one out there. There's parental controls. You can manage screen time. You can block specific websites or set settings to tailor how you want it. It blocks pornography. It is an internet filter in general. It can also track location on devices. It can block specific apps. And there's a dashboard that you as a parent can use to just track all of the activity. There's a family feed where you can get insight and visibility into your family's online activity in real time. Social media protection, you can protect against apps like TikTok or Snapchat, Instagram, those kind of things. And it also offers YouTube monitoring. NetNanny is pretty popular and it's pretty straightforward on how it works. And so that's an option that you can use, again, running you just under $100 a year annually for the most expensive plan that covers all of your devices. The second software I want to highlight is Circle. Circle is essentially very similar to NetNanny, but there's a few things that are a little bit different. For one, I didn't see this on NetNanny, but you can pause activity. So you can literally from Circle, it's connected to your Wi-Fi. So it's actually a device in the house that connects to your Wi-Fi, and it covers all the devices that are connected in the house. You can do things like pause the internet. You can set bedtime, so you can see that here, and that will allow you to shut down that device in a specific time frame so that your kids aren't browsing the phone or their tablets during the night. I'm a firm believer that your kids' devices, our kids' devices should be in a room that's not their bedroom. Even if there's no access, you never know what kind of loopholes they may know. And so it's just better that they don't even have the temptation to use their phone, even if it's not malicious, even if it's just to play a game or something like that. It's better to just not have them in their room anyway. But I won't get on that soapbox. I will say that Circle offers bedtime functionality where they describe it as be sure the kids get the sleep that they need, but it also just shuts down the devices. There's off time, so if you want to set certain apps to not be accessible during school hours, you can do that. Time limits on apps, which you can do that through iOS generally anyway. There's internet filter, of course, where it blocks content. You can see usage, you can see history, and you can also do location tracking. The one thing about Circle that I did notice is that it loses some functionality when you're not connected to the Wi-Fi. So there are apps that you can download where when they're out, it's still monitoring. But for instance, on a computer, if they leave the house and they're not connected to the Wi-Fi, then that computer becomes unprotected. Whereas if they're in the house and it's done through the Wi-Fi, so the connection is there. Now for mobile devices, iOS and Android, you can get apps so that the connectivity or the protection still stays on the app, and the phones are always protected even if they're out. But that's one concern about Circle for me, is that if I want to have my laptop, out and about at a coffee shop or something like that, I'm at that point not connected with Circle or not protected with Circle. So Circle is a good option. You can use Spring at checkout. This is just a code that they have on the top to get $30 off and 2 free day shipping with a 30-day satisfaction promise. So check out Circle if you want something to protect your Wi-Fi, any device that's on your Wi-Fi. And that's another thing, that's another point that I forgot to mention. Any device that comes into your house is at this point monitored by Circle if they're connected to the Wi-Fi. So if you have a friend, if your child has a friend that comes over and you want to be sure that it's protected, hopefully they don't have data on their phone or their device, but you could also just offer to connect it to the Wi-Fi, and then at that point you're also having the filter block any inappropriate content on every device. A Circle subscription that's all access is $99 per year, US dollars. Lifetime subscriptions are available, it says online. And so that's what you're looking at as cost for Circle. The next software I want to talk about is Bark. Bark came across my radar when I came across a video where the company was being used to bait child predators. So they had a employee that was able to look like a minor and bait men on Instagram and social media. And I was just watching this video about how they are working with the authorities to actually catch child predators. Then I got into what their software actually entails, and it's pretty all-encompassing. They market it as the most coverage of any monitoring tool. And you can go online, see the extensive list of what they monitor. But they monitor Apple devices, Android devices. They monitor text messages, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of the social media, even messaging apps like GroupMe, Hangouts, Tumblr, Reddit, they will monitor, Kick Messenger, WhatsApp, even Discord. And Discord is a big one. I paused there because I know that a lot of people, even in our youth group at church, a lot of people are using Discord as a messaging app. And there's all these different, I don't understand it all. They have me on one for our youth group that they created. And so, I mean, it's a good tool, but this Bark software also monitors those kinds of apps, Skype and others, TikTok. And so you're able to monitor all social media across all the apps. There's screen time and web filtering. There's text and email monitoring, which is huge. If you're worried about bullying, or if you're worried about an inappropriate text message relationship with your children, it monitors that as well. Social media monitoring, it's 24/7 device protection. So it looks for activities that may indicate online predators, which is, again, what Bark is really, really good at. There's alerts, there's real-time alerts. So if there's a potential issue, and it actually gives recommendations on how to address the issue with the child. So let's say Bark picks up on an inappropriate texting relationship, and maybe you start to realize that it could be someone that's not a minor inappropriately messaging your child. You're able to get recommendations on how to approach the subject and not just automatically be like aggressively, attack mode at your kid. So maybe it could help break down some walls or soften the kind of the approach. It helps a lot. It monitors, it detects, it alerts, and you're able to manage things individually. So for instance, you can manage individual apps, individual websites at the push of a button, which is really cool. Bark Premium is $99 annually or $14 per month. You get a 7-day free trial if you sign up on their website. And again, it's pretty extensive when it comes to protecting your children, keeping up with their location and the things that they're doing, even in messaging apps. The last tool I want to go over is an app called Covenant Eyes. You might be familiar with Covenant Eyes. Covenant Eyes is specifically geared towards pornography and protecting against pornography and creating accountability in the space. I would say that Covenant Eyes honestly is geared a little more towards adults and living lives of integrity online for adults, but it also can protect your whole family and your household. It is a web-based application that goes onto your computers and monitors your entire computer, your entire system. The interesting thing about Covenant Eyes, they have really kind of two tiers. Both are right around $15 a month. I don't know if there's an annual option for pay, but it's right around $15 or $16 a month, and you can actually try it for 30 days for free. But Covenant Eyes allows you to set up accountability partners. So for instance, if you're dealing with something and you want to create software for yourself that protects you, you can also set up an accountability partner to get an alert anytime something goes wrong and something's triggered on the Covenant Eyes filtering. This means that if you visit a website that has pornography or even just something mildly suggestive, your accountability partner will receive an email that lets them know to check in with you, which is a really cool feature if you're struggling with an addiction to porn, or if you're just dealing with maybe just looking at inappropriate images, even if they're not full-fledged pornography. You can have some kind of accountability in that. It also has screen capture, where it will take pictures of images and then blur them out to send to your accountability partner. So that way, if there's something that could potentially be negative, but the algorithm doesn't really catch it or doesn't know, it may just recognize that it's taking these random photos will send to your accountability partner so that they can kind of see if something is a little off or a little fishy. From what I understand, it does this randomly. It's not triggered by actually seeing something on the screen and recognizing it and taking a picture, but it just randomly does photos, and you don't at all know that it's happening. Covenant Eyes also has a web browser that goes on iOS and Android, and you can download that to do your browsing on your phone. For iPhone, it uses VPN technology, so it monitors the device completely across all platforms. You establish a VPN when you set up the device and you download the app, and then it monitors across all apps. It forces safe search on all search engines and also does screen accountability within the app. So, for instance, for the Covenant Eyes app, so the app just goes on your screen, and your home screen, and it's actually a browser. So you open it up. I have it opened up to strava.com, which is a website I use for running and tracking my runs. So for instance, you'll see that this picture has a female that's had been scuba diving or something of that nature. The software may take a screenshot of this randomly and send it to my accountability partner and say, hey, check in about this image. I could look at the image and recognize it because it's on the login screen and say, oh, that's just Strava. Or if it was something that was more malicious on my part, then my accountability partner might say, hey, what's this? And then you understand that you have to address an issue there. But the web app works, as far as the functionality of it. You can visit websites. It does accountability screen capture, but it also does filtering. So it may block sites that are deemed inappropriate. You can set different levels of severe, age levels. You can set it at teen, where it's pretty aggressive at blocking content, and even sometimes a little too aggressive at blocking, like YouTube. There may be something that's harmless that gets blocked, but you can set it up to unrestricted as well. If you set it as unrestricted, you could basically raise it all the way up to where it doesn't block anything, but it still does accountability and notifies people, your accountability partners, if you access something inappropriate. We have Covenant Eyes on all of our devices, all of our computers, all of our mobile devices, all of our tablets. And that's the good thing, is that one subscription covers all your devices. If you log in, you have a username and a password, you have to log in. It even monitors installs and uninstalls on the computer, which is great. You can set it as password protected, so it can't be uninstalled on the computer, and you can use like your spouse or someone else to do that. The thing about Covenant Eyes is, like I said earlier, it's geared towards helping people overcome addictions to pornography. But it's my opinion that every single household should at least have Covenant Eyes on every single device. I'm not ashamed to admit that I have Covenant Eyes on all my devices. I use the Covenant Eyes web browser on my phone. I don't have Safari on my phone. I use the Covenant Eyes web browser because it's fine. And I don't know why we always want to talk about the children. We don't necessarily want to talk about the fact that adults have struggles and issues too. But it's a small, small price to pay. Covenant Eyes is a small, small price to pay. It's the price of maybe 2 trips to Starbucks a month to protect yourself and to keep yourself pure online and to maintain integrity. I think that every single person should have it. I think that every believer should believe in it. And if you are talking with someone, maybe you're talking with your spouse about protecting the device, and there's a little bit of hesitation somewhere, that's a different conversation that you might need to have, because it is important, and we should have no reservation at protecting our children and our own devices. We should have no reservation about protecting our own devices and ourselves. You should be eager to put something on your device that is protecting you and that is keeping you accountable to someone, whether it's your spouse or whether it's a friend. You should absolutely do that, because it's of utmost importance that we maintain integrity online. And I encourage you, if you don't have something set up on your device, that you do that immediately. Go and do it. Talk right away. Setting these kind of boundaries and these kind of filters and things like that on your device is not admitting that you have a problem. So if you bring it up to your spouse and say, hey, let's watch this video where Uncommon People podcast talks about accountability software, and let's look at and see what we want to set up. If you have that conversation, don't get aggressive with your spouse about, well, why do you need that? Are you having a struggle with something? No, if nothing else, we're being preventative about what could come. And so I encourage every single person that watches this video to maintain at least a base level of accountability software, or have like the circle that monitors the whole Wi-Fi, just so that you protect yourself, because you never know what you may fall into. But I want to be very clear that I don't think that internet accountability protection filtering is just for children. I've already said it. I've already showed you my phone. I use it myself. I use accountability software. I encourage my friends to. I am an accountability partner on Covenant Eyes for other people. And it's come in clutch a lot of times. And so I encourage you to explore these tools. If you have any questions, send us a message, drop us a comment, or if you don't want to drop us a comment, you can drop us a DM on Instagram at Uncommon People Podcast, or email us at uncommonpeoplepodcast@gmail.com. You can connect with us. There's links to all of these tools in the description of this video, so be sure to check that out. And until next time, Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.